welcome back everybody to day 3. We really appreciate everybody attending, and I want to thank Peter before he hops off this Zoom link for his continued leadership in this activity. And I want to thank Ellen Thomas and Larry. I think one of these is Larry. I can't tell from the pictures. And Laura Wong, I'm not sure she's on yet. She's been moderating, and I want to thank everybody for their activities getting this organized. We have more talks in this event than any of our previous ones. So our 10th one is very rich. And I'm going to go through the day really quickly, and then I'm actually going to go to the platform. Most of you probably know how to navigate the platform. I'm going to show you the videos from day 1 are live now. So you can, I'll show you where those are. We're going to start the day with Jay Santos, who Peter will be introducing. And I've known Jay myself probably 20, 30 years. And it's really exciting to have him part of this community. He's really a master in commissioning and controls. And then you're going to hear 2 talks from researchers at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. Elliot Crow's going to talk about data analytics for smart buildings, what's in your toolbox. And I think you'll really enjoy the graphics and the way he presents this kind of infrastructure for building diagnostics and controls. And then Marco Bertoni is going to talk about improving scalable solutions for fault detection in commercial buildings. And Marco is at the heart of research on interoperability. With all the things you've heard about haystack and brick, semantic interoperability, and we're working with controls within the building, and we're starting to look at building to grid signaling. So he'll be talking about mostly within the building. And then Robert, in a moment, is going to give you an overview of making data actionable for building operations. And he's also will be leading the integrating building automation systems for technician education, updates for community colleges. And then there's a wrap up at the end at 1:30 Pacific time. And before I hand it over to Robert, I'm going to do a quick review of the platform to remind you how it works and show you where the various resources are. So I think you can see my screen here, right? This is the platform itself. And if you go to the auditorium, you can see the agenda for each day. If you click on day 1, you'll see you can actually go to day 2, and so the days are up here. The actual videos are here under play, and then you can download the slides. So we have a good set of resources for you. We hope that these resources are widely used and shared. They're important for helping you look back at what the themes were around the material we presented, as well as the graphics and such. And if you really want to use some of the graphics, you can reach out to us, because I know, if we actually shared the PowerPoint, that's easier for you to incorporate than the PDFs. So if you see something you really want, let us know, and we'll try to track it down. Because it's always, I'm sure you're working on concepts for teaching, and you want to get into some of those details. So those materials are available for you. And Robert, do you want to talk about your activities today?
Absolutely. Thank you, Marianne. Welcome again, everyone. Glad to see everyone back this morning. The 2 panels the 2 items that I'm in charge of this day are panel discussion on data analytics. That's going to be introed by Paul Erlach. And we've got a couple of speakers from the Lawrence Berkeley National Labs from the facilities side who are going to join in for that, and Paul Reel from CUNY. We're going to be talking about kind of data analytics, but how we use that data to do something useful. Because we can have all the data in the world, but if we don't do something with it, then what good is it in all reality? Following that, we have a chance for all of our colleges to do some updates and share what exciting things they are doing in their labs and in their classrooms in relation to building automation systems. I do want to point out that today's theme really is all about technology in buildings and what we can do with it now and where we think or where we see it going in the very near, surprisingly near future, to help us better control our buildings in a more efficient, more effective manner, but also to facilitate the communication within a building and between buildings so that they work together in a more cohesive system. So today should be a really exciting day from the technical aspect. All of our sessions are just going to be really exciting today, I think.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. I think I failed to mention the theme of today, which I appreciate you mentioning. So just to remind folks that day one was around strategic initiatives for decarbonization, and you heard about global, national, and local decarbonization activities and a lot of metrics and what the different big picture global climate change issues are, as well as the technologies and introduction to them. And day two was about building decarbonization technology and applications. And we heard about connected communities, cooling technologies, decarbonization and energy storage and the role of storage in decarbonization. And then we had Eco Block yesterday, which was a really exciting and challenging business model to create urban microgrids. Urban microgrids are have all kinds of policy issues because the electric utility doesn't really want people selling electricity to their neighbors and creating systems that compete with the traditional business models. So it's kind of a disruptive technology and very difficult from a policy perspective, but fascinating in terms of the potential to create resilient infrastructure. Promoting diversity in the buildings workforce. Yesterday, we spoke about women and people of color in the buildings workforce, and we had good speakers, including the DOE's Workforce Accelerator and women and an LBL staff, Armando Casillas, who himself started at a community college and went to UC Merced and then is a master's in UC Davis and works for us. And I've been watching his career evolve. When we reached out to UC Merced, we're actually doing some really interesting work at UC Merced. They have a 4 million gallon thermal energy storage chill water tank, and they have 4 megawatts of on-site solar. And we're using model predictive control to change the way we charge the TES, and we're charging the TES in the middle of the day. And when we were working with the facilities folks there, we called Armando in to help negotiate those relationships because he had worked there when he was an undergrad. So that was really helpful. So we really appreciate the work that you all do as HVAC service technician training experts, because the technologies we're developing cannot be deployed unless we have a workforce that understands the goal of these new technologies. That's the most important thing of this institute, is to give you all introduction, overview, inspiration into these emerging technologies and the policy landscape and the greenhouse gas emission metrics associated with these technologies, because we're really moving. DOE is telling us that this is not about energy efficiency anymore, it's about decarbonization. And that's a big pivot because people don't see carbon on their bill. They see dollars and kilowatt hours and BTUs. And so it's a big challenge as we think about decarbonization. So today is really the meat of the building automation systems, and look forward to the activities and talks. And Larry, do you want to say anything about today?
Sure. Well, thank you, Marianne, for that wrap up of yesterday's events. Yeah, I think I left with some to-do items going forward and for Best Center. And, where data analytics are concerned, I think, it is something certainly that NSF has been highlighting at numerous conferences. It is that key, or one of the key skills that will be integral for tomorrow's workforce and economic development. So we have a lot to do there as well. So I'm really looking forward to all of today's events and panel discussions.
Anybody else want to share any thoughts? We have just a few minutes before we move over to Jay's talk.
Well, Marianne, I Ted Walensky here. I really am looking forward to Jay's talk. Jay always has a really exciting presentation that he gives, tweaks it every year, and this year I'm sure it'll be no different. So I'm excited to hear about that. But looking back, yesterday's talks are really good. I really got a lot of information on the last talk of the day that Brian Lovell gave, with all those resources for helping with trying to get programs up and running. So that's it.
Great. And again, those are online, both the videos and the presentations. And I showed you a moment ago, you go to the auditorium, back to the day 1, day 2, and those are posted now. So we want to make that available to you.
Yeah, and as in the past, they'll all be migrating to the Best Center website sometime in the future, so that when the VFairs website, the conference website, goes down, you'll have another place to go to find them.
Did you want to say something, Tara?
I just wanted to ask about what was going to, if we were going to have access to the videos afterwards. And as the thought came into my head, Ted answered my question as if magically. So that was it. Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
Yeah, the PowerPoint and the videos are there.
I guess I just want to say the session on recruiting women and underrepresented minorities, I thought that session has application beyond BAS. In other words, the same issues are confronting all the areas of STEM and especially the emerging technologies. So I actually plan to share that session with some of the other centers at ATE, because I thought they had great strategies that other people could use.
Yeah, thank you. I agree, and I think that it's something that we have to make sure that we include in our agendas. That it's easy to just keep doing what we've been doing, but the need for diversity, equity, inclusion is sort of a growing interest in all organizations these days, governments, in private sector, in teaching. So there's a lot of inequity in our society that can help address with these kinds of attentions to these issues. So I think we're at 8:15. I think we're going to be transitioning over to Jay's talk. So thanks everybody for joining this morning, and I hope you all have a great day and appreciate the interest in this program.